Hey, another day, another live stream, huh? Okay, so today, I woke up and it is raining in Seattle. It hasn't rained in a while. And so it's kind of exciting to go back to normal Seattle weather and have it be really, really raining. It's like pouring. I took out my dog just now and I was like, okay, it's gonna be quick. She's gonna, do her thing, go to the bathroom, and it's gonna be fine, done. I won't get too wet. But man, is it pouring outside. And when I walked out, my hair is still a little wet right now. My clothes are a little wet because it's raining. And I have to say that I actually kind of miss the rain. Um, didn't I grew up in Thailand, I grew up in Bangkok, and I am a big fan of hot weather. I'm a big fan of the sun. I'm a big fan of heat. And so I didn't think I would kind of like this dreary, gloomy, rainy, colder weather, but I do. So, I'm glad that it's kind of back now because it's been quite a hot year here in Washington. Well, anyway, today I wanted to talk about I was trying to think between two things that I wanted to talk about. I either wanted to talk about kind of ways to build your email list, or on the other hand, I was like, okay, let's talk about how to kind of promote your crowdfunding campaign now that you've gone live, right? Because a lot of people actually go live on crowdfunding, go live on Kickstarter, go live on Indiegogo, and they come back to ask me that exact question. They're like, hey, how do I promote my campaign? How do I get more people to come to my project? And well, to be honest, it's something that I would recommend planning in the pre-launch stage. Going like what promotions you're gonna do, how you're gonna get the word out for your project, how you're gonna continue like maintaining momentum for your campaign. I'd recommend doing that, the preparation for it, the foundational outreach, the kind of relationship building that you have to do that before you actually launch, the pre-launch phase. Do that in the months leading up to launch, because when you do launch, everything gets kind of hectic, and everything gets there's just a lot of questions coming in. You're always trying different things. There's always different tactics and strategies to try. So having a foundational plan for how you actually do outreach, how you actually do promotions during the campaign is going to be really, really important for you. Again, because it's really, really kind of a mind-boggling thing to go into launch, especially the first time, and have to figure out, the platform, custom referral tags, figuring out traffic, figuring out like responding to backers, figuring out, email marketing. Like there's all these things to figure out. So I always recommend to kind of look at the promotional things before you actually go and press the launch button. So let's talk about like where and how and why and where you can get these promotions. Like what can you do to promote your campaign and get the word out? Well, there's multiple places. All right. And I like to break it into kind of paid ways to do it and kind of non-paid ways to do it, right? Because at the end of the day, what promotions does is it brings traffic to your campaign, right? It brings attention, it brings eyeballs, it brings visitors, it brings interested people to your campaign. And that's what promotion is, right? It's literally just grabbing someone's attention from a pool of people and just directing it to your particular campaign. So when we talk about promotions here, and there's paid and non-paid ways. Let's talk about some of the paid ways first, because it's some people just want to kind of like spend money and just get it over with. But okay, so let's just kind of talk about it. So as you'll probably have read, or you'll probably have seen, or just seen YouTube videos about it, like listen to podcasts about it, or experienced it firsthand, right? There's a lot of people who will ask for money to talk about your thing and to promote your thing, right? There's a lot of people that you can just pay to promote to their group of people, to their group of fans already. So what this looks like is there are, for example, companies like BackerKit, let's take BackerKit as an example. BackerKit is one of those crowdfunding like agencies, pretty much. What they do is their core business is they help to figure out the post-campaign rewards and address confirmation and just kind of get people ready to, and the information for people ready when they go to, before it goes to like the fulfillment company, the actual company that packs and ships and stuff. Right. So, okay, what they also have in another arm of their business is that they also have a huge email list of people. They have a huge email list of crowdfunding backers. Because they've accumulated this throughout the years since they've been helping people with pledge management, and people have to confirm their emails, people have to confirm their addresses. There's all these people have to confirm. And so BackerKit has a giant repository of these emails. So what they've done is they built out a different arm of their business where you can actually just literally pay them to send your campaign in front of these people, right? So why does this matter? This matters because they have information of people who's purchased on crowdfunding before, and they've categorized these people into the different categories: design and tech, games, apparel, art, film, whatever it is that you have. They probably have a sizable audience for that particular category. So what you can do for one of your promotions is literally to just pay them to send a message to these people and be like, so-and-so campaign is live. My book campaign is live. You should get it too. And send that directly to a book audience that has already pre-ordered something on Kickstarter, pre-ordered a book or a similar project on Kickstarter, right? So that's one way to kind of pay for those promotions, for that attention. There's a lot of these groups that have actually built up that crowd, that following of crowdfunding enthusiasts. BackerKit being one of them. There's, other people include things like Gadget Flow. There's like Backer Club. There's so many people out there. So don't be kind of scared if you're not sure where to get started. There's like a list of it on the Crush Crowdfunding website, so be sure to go there. But yeah, there's a huge list of people who will just take, you could just pay, and they've taken years and hundreds of thousands of dollars, I assume, to just put all these crowdfunding fans together, right? And you can just pay to access that audience. So that's one way. Another way to kind of like promote your own campaign and get attention for your campaign is to just pay for ads. Just pay for advertising. The cool thing about advertising is that you really control a lot of the pieces for bringing people to your campaign, right? You control things like the cost you want to look at. You control the ad units, you control the audience targeting, you control the geolocation targeting, you control the age range of people you're targeting to, you control the gender, you control so many things that you're able to kind of figure out and control how much input you want in, and you're going to see what the output's going to be, right? So with that said, you're able to really manage your budget that way. But the caveat here is that you have to really know how to do advertising to actually be effective when you do crowdfunding advertising. Because there are really key things that are specific to crowdfunding, like the type of words you use, the types of images that work really well, things like the actual audience targeting, the narrowing of the type of audience targeting. There's things that are very specific to crowdfunding. If you don't know how to do that, it's going to be like you're setting your money on fire. So yes, there's advertising. But the cool thing is that if you don't want to do advertising yourself, or if you don't know this advertising stuff, there's a lot of people who specialize in this. There's a lot of people who do this for a living. And you're able to just ask them for help too. So for example, companies like or agencies like Jello, Jellop, Jello, all they do, all they do is advertising for Kickstarter, period. There's another company, Green Inbox. All they do is advertising for crowdfunding, right? Like they have niched down so much that is the only that is the only service offering that they have, and they're very good at what they do. Right? So there are options. Right? You could do it yourself. You can hire someone to be in your team to do it for you, or you can hire someone else outside to do it for you. Right? So those are kind of the two really kind of paid ways to do it. There's other ways that are, let's be honest, a little more sketchy. I don't really want to cover it, but a lot of people might try this, so let's cover it. One of the other ways I've seen this happen is people buy email lists. People literally just buy email lists. Someone sends them an email, and they're like, hey, I have a list of 10,000 previous backers. Would you like to buy this for, $50, $500, or something like that? And a lot of creators ask me like, hey, should I do this? Should I buy it? Should I use it? And I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. Sure, they're previous backers of Kickstarter, of Indiegogo. I'm sure it's a real list because so many lists have been leaked, right now. Like there's a lot of emails floating around, so I'm not surprised if they're actual emails of backers, right? Okay, so what people like to do is they take this email and they're like, okay, I'm going to send emails directly to these 10,000 people. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you do that, if you do actually buy this, pay money to get this like audience of crowdfunding backers, and you buy it and you like send an email to them, your domain, you're going to be marked as spam everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. And your domain is going to be blacklisted, and it's not going to show up in Google searches. It's not your emails are going to always go to spam. Your MailChimp or whatever email marketing platform you're going to use might just shut down. Like there's all these different things that can be really detrimental if you end up buying an email list and sending directly to that email list. So if this is you, and if you're thinking about doing this, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Okay, please don't do it. Okay, a different way I've seen people actually use this is that if they do buy an email list, what can potentially work is if you feed it into kind of like a Facebook algorithm and into the Facebook audience platform and get it to find lookalike audiences, so that data that you're putting in isn't kind of used directly, right? You can use lookalike audiences of people who have backed crowdfunding campaigns. That's a pretty like solid list, right? Some people actually literally feed this email and use it as a custom audience, and they just send ads to this 10,000 people and say, hey, you backed Kickstarter before, you backed Indiegogo before, do you want this project too? The bad thing about doing this is that this audience is who is this audience? Like, who built this audience? How did they build it? Is it an audience that will really like what you have to give? Is this an audience that would like your product, would like your project? Is it an audience that will even care about you, your story, what you're trying to make? Like, yeah, they care about crowdfunding, but people who care about crowdfunding don't necessarily care about this category, or they don't necessarily care about what you're making and you as an individual, as an entrepreneur. So that's something to keep in mind when people are trying to sell you emails, right? Who are these people? Who are these people behind the emails? Maybe they're just not, maybe it's an email list from like 2008 and no one has that email anymore. Or maybe it's an email list from 2008 and it's all just spam emails or something like that, right? So be sure to keep that in mind too. Okay, so now that you're live, let's talk about So we talked about some paid ways to get that attention, that traffic, that, to promote your own campaign, just get the word out, right? Let's talk about some ways to promote your campaign that are free. Okay, so you know how I started off this video by saying it's great to plan ahead. Plan for all this before you even launch your campaign, because you're gonna freak out in the middle of the campaign and just want to throw money at it when things aren't working. So what I mean is there's multiple ways to tap into an audience. And one of those ways is to tap into an audience that someone else owns. Okay. So that means is you could, if you're launching something in the pet niche, right? Like you're launching like a new dog toy that keeps them entertained throughout the day when you're not at home, right? If that's what you're launching. You want to build a relationship with whoever has a giant audience of pet lovers way before you launch your campaign. And once you do launch your campaign and you're fully funded and you're like, okay, this is going great, you can go back to the same person that you started talking to pre-launch. You can go back to that same person and say, hey, I've launched, I funded, I know we talked already. Would something like this be interesting to your audience, right? And if they go, yeah, of course it's going to be. And that person probably already does like a podcast with their audience. They probably do something like a YouTube video with their audience. They probably do things like a blog for their audience, whatever it is, or like they have an email list and they send emails to their audience. Whatever it is, they probably already are communicating with their audience in some way. And now that you have that relationship beforehand, you can just say, hey, would your audience want to hear about this? It's funded, it's going great. Would you want to kind of hear more? Would your audience want to hear more? Kind of come talk about it? And yeah, these people, these influencers, these people who own lists and own like a big audience, they always want content for their audience, right? They always want things that their audience can listen to, read, watch. And so they're gonna say, yeah, they're gonna really, really want to talk about your content. They're gonna want to talk about your product. So build that relationship beforehand so that you can activate it during the campaign. That's one of the most important things, because a lot of people kind of just cold pitch, whether it's influencers, whether it's like a journalist, whether it's like, I don't know, any type of other list owner, right? Let's try to cold pitch. And if you cold pitch and there's no relationship, everyone's going to want to either ask for a fee or just totally ignore you, right? But then if you have a relationship with someone, then if you ask something of them, they're like, oh yeah, this person's really cool. Let's do it. Because I know and trust this person already. I've talked to them before. It's not just like, hey, do this for me, right? Okay. Another thing that to get people to really, really kind of see your project and be able to like get attention to your project, cross promotions. People forget about cross promotions, but they're such a great tool, because what a cross promotion is you and a different campaign, right? Whatever campaign that is, come to talk together, and you're like, hey, if I talk about your campaign and send people to your campaign, can you talk about my campaign and send people to my campaign? And then it happens. You talk about each other, you like hype each other up, and you have a link to each other's campaign. And it's great. That works well because one, crowdfunding backers love backing on crowdfunding. Like a lot of people back more than one product. I myself have backed, I don't know, like 40 products or something on crowdfunding. I love crowdfunding. And there's other people out there who have backed like at least 200 or 300 or 400 products. Some people use that as their kind of like shopping outlet, right? So yeah, there's a lot of people out there who back multiple times. And they're called repeat backers. And so what can happen is you can literally just go out and reach out to different campaigns that are live. It can be campaigns in your category. It can be campaigns that you think have the same audience as you. It can be campaign that you create that already, like however you want to do this outreach. There's no harm in doing a cross promotion because you always send updates to your backers anyway. You talk to your backers all the time anyway, so you can just kind of put this at the bottom of each update and be like, hey, by the way, this is what's happening in our campaign right now. These are successes. Here's the backers. Here's the status of things are going. And at the end, you can be like, hey, we also want to do a shout out to so and so campaign because we really like the work that they're doing. Go check them out. Right? Easy peasy, and it's a win-win-win, and it's free, right? All you need is time to kind of look at the different campaigns and reach out to these different campaigns, and everyone wins by doing this, right? And some campaigns with the right cross promotions or with enough cross promotions can get a huge lift in their actual total raised just by doing these cross promotions. Okay, another thing that you can do to really get the word out, especially if kind of followed the entire formula, you've created the launch sequence, you've done everything right, and you got funded already in the first, second, or third day, right? If you've done all that, you have backers, you're funded, and everything else is just kind of the cherry on top, right? What you can do also is you can get these backers and create a referral program. A referral program literally is one of the easiest things you can do to leverage that enthusiasm and that passion and that kind of want that your backers have for your product to exist and to come to life, and leverage that into something that into more backers, into more funding. So what that means is you could just create a thing that says, hey, if we know that you love the campaign, we know you love the campaign. Would you mind referring your friends and family to the campaign too, telling them about it? Because the idea behind it, the idea behind this is if someone really likes your product, right? Assuming it's kind of running shoes or something, new types of running shoes. If someone really likes your product, the assumption is that they have the community of people they interact with already in this particular niche hobby or niche need. So people who love running and are backing running shoes on crowdfunding, they probably have a running group, or they know a running Facebook group, or they go to a running meetup, or whatever kind of running thing that they do, right? So the assumption is that people are going to have this group of people that they know that love these same hobbies. And so if you just kind of reach out to your backer of this running shoe and be like, hey, can you tell your friends, your group about it, and bring them back here and have them convert into a backer? The chances are that there'll be a lot of people in that backers kind of inner circle that will like the same thing, and they'll trust the backer because their friends or coworkers or colleagues in some way, they'll trust them, and so they'll be more likely to actually purchase the thing. Okay, so you can do this manually. You can do this manually and be like, okay, if you refer someone and they back, I'll give you $5. You can do that. You can even do it without a reward, right? You can just say, hey, can you refer someone? There's no reward, but we'll give you a online high five or something like that, or credit you in our campaign page somehow. Or there's actually programs that help you do this. So a program called Kick Booster actually helps do this. And if you want to sign up, go to crushcrowdfunding.com/Kick Booster, KICKBOOSTER. And it's all integrated, all set up, and all done and all ready for you. You just have to sign up and activate it. Pretty much put in your name, last name, email, URL, and it's an out of the box solution for you. So, okay, we talked about a few things when it comes to promotions, kind of getting attention for your campaign. On the paid side, we talked about 3 different things. We talked about these lists. We talked about advertising. We talked about these list advertising, even like paying for emails. And the other on the non-paid side, we talked about cross promotion, we talked about referral programs, and we talked about kind of accessing a list that someone else already owns and has nurtured, right? And so don't let this be kind of a box limit for you, right? There's so many other ways to get in touch with people. There's so many ways to outreach. There's so many ways to, um, hi, um, hi there. Chaitanya says, hello. Hi, if there's any questions, let me know, and I'll be sure to answer it. But as I was saying, there's a lot of ways to kind of get attention and really get the word out there about your project. So don't be scared to try something new, and don't be scared to really just do the outreach, talk to people, form relationships with people who have the same interests as you, so that you can start sharing about your project, sharing about your product, and you can start rallying that interest and bringing them into your campaign so they could potentially become backers and more funding. Okay, so if you enjoyed this, I'll be here every single day at the same time doing this. And if you have any questions, just drop it into the chat bar below here. And be sure to check out the new crowdfunding resource shop. It's crushcrowdfunding.com/resources. I've compiled a ton of cool new resources for you to use to crush your crowdfunding launch, like email templates, press templates, landing page templates, swipe files, ad swipe files. There's like a book that I wrote. Like there's so many things in there that you can go and just get right now. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.